I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody.
Page,
Here.
Walsh, Peters,
Here.
Childers,
Here.
Wolfersberger,
Here.
Cummings,
Here.
Bragg.
Here. All right, there are no proclamations or appointments. Public comment, just reiterating the rules, stating your name and address, limiting comments to 5 minutes, avoiding profanity and abuse, please. Mayor may limit repetitive or out of order comments, and organized groups, please choose a spokesperson. So we have some folks that have signed in. We'll go through this list first, if there are any folks that, well, I'm assuming we have comments.
Yes. Jeremy Dirksmeyer.
Yes. You do that out.
To the podium here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, my name is Jeremy Dirksmeyer. I live at 2005 East Grand Avenue, right on the corner of South Glover and Grand, going into the sports complex. So obviously I'm here tonight to voice my concern about some proposed plans, or talk about plans about the development to the north of that park. I'm not, first and foremost on the record, I'm not anti-development by any means. I think there's some viable options in this community. I would not, I guess, think that the north of the park would be the most viable. My biggest concern, I live on that corner, I probably, honestly, I see a lot of cars going in and out of the park all times of the day. That's not necessarily my concern. My concern would be the safety aspect of that. The intersection at Sportsman Club and Grand is a choke point. And I don't know if anybody's given much thought to that. If we're putting 90 new lots to the north of that park, there's one way out of that. And that is at that intersection. So you have, and I encourage any of you, if you want to come sit in my driveway, 2005 East Grand, whenever there's any event going on at the park, trying to get out of the park, past my driveway, or even let's visualize this. If you're going north on Sportsman Club and come to that stop sign and turn east to go into the park, they stair stack on each other so much going into the park, you can't even get out of my driveway on an event, let alone, let's say 90 developed houses, whatever, 2 drivers per home, another 180 drivers daily. Have we given any thought to actually determining how many cars go in and out of that park? We had a strip put across it to determine how many cars go in that park. I mean, I have a camera that monitors the front of my house that has 21,000 hits in 2 months. If something happens to that intersection, you have a fire, whatever the case may be, on a developed home back there, how do we gain access to it? It's my question. There is no viable option for it. You either come in or out in one location or one location home. And that is at that intersection of Sportsman Club and Grand. So I don't know if you're comfortable with that, but that's a big issue for me. And there are a ton of kids. And I'm assuming if that is developed, there will be more new families. So my concern is that, again, I'm not anti-development by any means. I think we have some other options in town that do have a tremendous amount of access points in and out. I don't think this is the best option. One, that's my biggest concern. Two, I mean, I think it was intended to be a park. And I think it's kind of slapped to the face of those that had given that land or offered that land for sale for a very discounted price to develop that for that intention whenever you're looking to do something potentially different than that. I think that's pretty disrespectful in my eyes. I understand we need development. I think there are better options. No risks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it Dan, is it Ahart?
You got it.
How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Truthfully, I thought there'd be some type of presentation prior to coming up here and speaking.
so I guess I wasn't entirely prepared. But I guess the biggest thing that I'm searching for is transparency. Why are we in this position? Why are we seeking this out? And gauging after Jeremy speaking, I guess I'm just here to talk and not be really receiving the answers from the get-go. But ultimately, that's what I'm looking for and what my family's looking for. And go back, I think it's 12 years now. The whole reason we chose where we did become to St. Joe in my specific location in my 2004 East Grand, which is actually the address for the park, because we have people stop by all the time. But the fact is that, I mean, the big reason why we're there is because of that park. And yeah, I mean, I've seen emotion come from my wife. I've had emotion come from my oldest daughter. I've had emotion come from my two little ones. And yeah, I'm emotional person myself and just trying to speak for them. I'm feeling that right now. And again, I'm just kind of seeking some answers. And ultimately, and Jeremy began to allude to it, but the fact is that as far as I know, that land was a gift. And from what I understand, the county only knows it as a gift, and it's only intended to be used as a park. And how did that change? So that's really all I have at this point. I'd love to possibly ask more questions with that opportunity later. But is there going to be a presentation or, you know, exactly what's going on and why we're in this position?
We address it when we get to that in the agenda.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
Greg Daniel.
I'm gonna go ahead and concede my time.
Jenna Kerner. Did I say that? Oh,
Gina.
Gina, sorry.
Fine, Gina Kerner, I live at 513 South Glover Court. I guess a lot of my same concerns, are actually what some of the others have said. The park is my front, I would say front lawn. My kids constantly are going over there. So my main concern is seeing the influx of the cars and the one stop sign. When I'm looking at the statistics, if we're having about 130 vehicles, and that's just one vehicle per house. Now we're looking at 260, and that's if there's no high schoolers. So you increase that again. Every household generally has at 7:30 or 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning a car leaving, if not two cars, and let alone buses. So my main concern is all getting stopped at that four-way. I think we all realize when 74 has an incident on 74, we're all stuck at four-way here in town, let alone just one four-way. There's no other way to reroute. So then we can't get to work. I also teach at the high school. I brought it up to a lot of the high school members about what possibly is going to happen. A lot of kids are actually the ones that I brought it up to. I showed them the plans that were on there. A lot of them were upset with how things are going to be restructured. I know we put a lot of money into the football field of raising it and then tearing it down and having to rebuild it. The soccer fields, the way the plan, I know you said the plans are just a mock plan right now, but the way the plans are, it has the soccer field stacked on top of each other. Well, all my kids have played soccer since kindergarten, and there's generally 3 separate soccer games going on at one time, and also 4 if we're counting Cole Park. And I don't know how we're going to keep the soccer program up if they're all stacked and we can't play multiple games at one time. To me, it'd be a great place to build more fields and try to bring more things in instead of trying to diminish our programs that we already have installed. Also looking at the plans, I noticed that the basketball courts were wiped out by putting the 4th diamond over. I don't know if there was a plan to put any basketball courts out, because if you take those courts away, the next courts are Cole Park or the schools. There's nothing at the Dino Park, or that's sorry, what we call it in our house. So now where are all those kids, if they don't have their own basketball court, where are they supposed to play? Again, we're trying to make this a community for our families and our kids, but we're now limiting some of the activities that our communities would be involved in. I feel like I had something else, but on the top of my head, I cannot recall. So thank you.
Thank you.
The boxes weren't checked next to Help Alvin here, but just need to double check just to be sure. Jessica Kerner, Good, okay, Todd Jacob.
No.
Steve and Margaret Sexton.
No.
Then, Richard, Hennig.
Got a question.
Can he just stay here instead of?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Stay,
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
otherwise we don't have it.
We've had several people speak. They're on South Glover. I'm North Glover. It's actually in my backyard. Where you're proposing everything. Cause I got a question, are you gonna be doing an impact study? Of everybody's concerns, we've got safety, we've got infrastructure. The infrastructure that's there now. That goes into our subdivisions, North and South Glover. Will it handle you adding another 90 homes behind us? And if not, where's the money gonna come from to have to upgrade everything to get everything to be moved? Because we're clear on the east end of all this water and sewer. You build a new sewer plant, it's clear out there in the west end of town. Is there gonna be enough to be able to get everything all the way across town? You gonna have to put in ejector systems, things like that, to be able to get everything over there? There's a lot of questions that's gonna be drainage. And looking at your proposal, where's the wall, stormwater go? Where does all the surface water go? I saw no retention pond in the whole thing. How big are the lots gonna be? Because if you're gonna do 90 homes. And you're only gonna have 3 cul-de-sacs. North Glover, if you have on the curve, there's 5 of them. And then all the way down is 8. On either side, so that's 21 houses, and you're doing 3 cul-de-sacs with 90? That tells me you're gonna crunch up all the houses, where they're gonna be right up on top of each other. You're not gonna have the big lots that we've got now. And then also, what kind of houses are you building? Are you gonna have a contractor come in here with a truck? Unload their truck, they'll have the house up in a week. Is that what you're gonna have back there? Or are you gonna have an actual contractor come in and stick build the houses like what we've got? You know, these are just some of the questions that I would like to know as far, because this thing is right in my backyard. It's, the other people are down a little ways, in South Glover, it affects them too. It also affects us in the fact, up on the north end where we're at, it is our backyard with what you're proposing to do. And that's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Is there,
That's all we got.
is there anybody else?
No, nobody's on.
That's it. We will be, when we get to this new agenda, we will be talking about everything that we folks have brought in. So just bear with us while we get some other business done. Next up is the consent agenda. We have the meeting minutes from January 27th. The executive session minutes from January 13th, treasurer's report, investment recommendations. Approval of bills in the amount of $37,736.36. And a special event permit for the SJO 5K. Are there any questions about any of the consent agenda items?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Walsh,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Childers,
Yes.
Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Pratt.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Right, new business. First thing up is the qualification of bid proposal to purchase and operate village wastewater system. Mr. Hartman's on?
Mhm.
Okay. Is he gonna be on Zoom, Mike?
He's
He's just,
Oh, he's just right behind you.
he's in the corner.
You're looking over my shoulder there.
Do you, Mr. Hartman, do you want to, kick this off, kind of review with us what, the lone bidder has proposed?
Sure. We only had one bidder. The rest, we had contacted 9 or 10. We, because of the size, et cetera, we only had one bidder. Two options were provided by that bidder, which is Illinois American Water Company. One was just to buy the overall system for a price that's half of what we valued it as, and I do not recommend that. That's a very low offer for your system. They were only willing to pay 50 cents on a dollar for your investment, so that's not worthwhile. The second option is $4.9 million for the collection system. And then they would pay the principal and interest on the overall loan with IEPA until the loan was paid off. And then they would have an option to purchase the system at that time or at a time before that, but definitely at that time. If they don't exercise the option or warrant at that time, then it would be open for us to bid to others for the treatment plant portion. They would be operating the entire system following our review and analysis and legal analysis by Mark and others, Miller, relative to the hybrid contract. And the hybrid contract has to be secured in such a fashion that there's, a poison pill in it, that if, they back out, then they, they lose everything and they would have to pay the outstanding balance of the indebtedness. So that's the kind of thing that we're going to have to negotiate with them following this. So we're going to need more time, if you will, to get a second option agreement that we can bring back to you that's agreeable, that what we believe is reasonable and may be agreeable to your village trustees. And that's that'll take a little while, might take a month or so. And so that's something that we'll work on. So I think Joe has put a recommendation by staff in your packet that says we accepted the proposal from them, that they've provided for us. And you would direct staff to perfect option 2, which is the hybrid proposal.
Okay. Does any of the council have any questions from here?
We can still negotiate those growth zones that we talked about last time you were here, so that we can identify areas where we may develop in the future and see if
Absolutely. That would be in the franchise agreement, as we discussed last time. Yes.
I've got a question for you. The proposal about them assuming the debt, we don't have any debt on the collection system.
That's correct. They would not assume the debt on the collection system. You would get the $4.9 million to the village. You would probably, depends on your decisions, but it's up to you whether you would pay off the portion of Elm Street that's the sanitary sewer. That would leave a value less than 4.9 million. Thereafter, we would have to talk to the engineers to see the allocable portion of that we believe should be paid off. And then the remaining amount of money from the $4.9 million is available for any lawful purpose. So that's sort of free for you to utilize as you see fit. Now I mentioned to Joe, and I had a recommendation to him for that initially. It'd be useful to hold back about $2 million from the 4.9 million into a reserve fund for the cash flow aspects of the IEPA repayment, depending upon IEPA's decisions. We believe that IEPA will waive those payments and such that reserve money will not have to be used. But we do not know that. We're a little, I was first time in my career that I've seen the IPA hold disbursements from an assigned contract to the contractor, which occurred here. And that hold is gone now. But I've never seen that before. That's not something that has ever been done before. So I don't know what they're thinking relative to that. Makes no sense what they did. But I think it's worthwhile to have a reserve for a year or two of principal and interest payments. And then after that period of time, once everything's, moved forward, you would take that extra 2 million, a little over $2 million for any lawful purpose.
Okay.
That was my recommendation to Joe. Yeah.
Is there a possibility we could counter on this, or is it just, that's it, that's all we're gonna do?
Well, I think we can counter negotiate on the hybrid agreement and see what, if we get a little bit more money on the collection system, maybe, I don't know. It is equal to the value of your collection system. So it's a reasonable offer, but we may be able to get more money in negotiations. We're definitely get defined and clarified terms and conditions in the hybrid agreement, as well as assurances such that they can't hurt us by backing out, if you will, on the payment for the treatment plan.
Is the collection system just isolated to the pipes and all that, or would they
Correct.
I didn't know if there's a possibility, like if you had a utility easement, if the cable or anything like that could enter into it, that'd still be under our purview?
The collection system would be transferred to Illinois American Water Company in totality. They would have all the responsibilities and assume all the requirements of running that system with all the entities involved in the collection system. So they would have the complete operations and requirements to serve all of your customers and pump that water. And the point of connection is the pipeline on the treatment plant site. So everything right at the treatment plant back is what they will operate. Now, they will also operate the wastewater treatment plant if you wish. There may be some cost savings in doing so. And then they would give to the village the net revenues to pay the principal and interest for the loan until that loan is paid off or defeased.
So it wouldn't affect anything for franchise or cable or internet or anything like that, strictly?
Correct.
Okay.
It would not impact any of those other things. And yes, there is a little bit of flexibility for negotiations because of the proposal being a little bit generalized and that it did not come with a hybrid agreement. I expected to have the hybrid agreement attached to the agreement, to the proposal. It was not. So since it was not, we have both the franchise agreement and the hybrid agreement to document and make sure that it's protects the village.
Thank you, Gary.
Sure.
Do you guys have any questions? They would pay a franchise agreement or a franchise fee, right? Moving forward.
We can assess the franchise fee with the franchise agreement. It could be like 3% or something like that of gross revenues.
Is the franchise agreement a separate agreement from the sale agreement?
It's usually, they both depend on each other because the franchise depends upon the sale agreement that they would be the owner. So that they do depend on each other, but they are separate documents.
Matt, very good. So, Joe, what are we doing tonight? Direction from the board to have staff and Jerry continue negotiations with Illinois American Water?
Yes,
Do we need a motion for that?
yeah.
Motion to go ahead and have the staff further study it to see if they can improve it to a suitable agreement. Negotiate as needed.
Second. Any further discussion? Anything else, Jerry, before we vote?
Oh, that'll do it.
Okay, go ahead.
Peters,
Yes.
Childers,
Yes.
Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Right. Thank you, Jerry. We appreciate your time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate this. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Second item of new business, consideration of possible awarding of field treatment jobs to select contractors for the 2026 season. Any discussion on how we proceed?
That was a lot.
It was a lot. Joe, do you have any recommendations in 2025? Just so everybody, you look in your packet, the decision was to award athletic fields, professional outdoor solutions, and then low bid to common areas and non-athletic fields. We kind of split up fields and non-athletic fields and common areas. Do you want to continue that process? Is there, what do you recommend?
I don't have a recommendation other than, it's kind of a subjective thing, so if you go out to the athletic fields and you feel as though, it was worth, what we did, then you would continue it, or if you don't, it's a very subjective thing. And we've talked about this in the past, but, it's separated into two different options that you can consider. There's lowest bid as the first one, and then there's based on what you did in 2025. I have those separated out, so you can choose to award those or do something different or not do anything at all. It's up to you. So.
Low bids for the mowing like we did in.
This is
Oh, for field treatment?
Yes.
I would stick with what we did last year. A little bit everywhere except for the baseball fields, because it seems to be.
In football and soccer.
and soccer.
So we're seeing the benefits of what we're paying for that.
Well, we're not hearing the complaining that we were hearing prior to doing it this way. So. Maybe we're seeing the benefits, but.
There haven't been complaints or compliments. It's been, subjective, like you, so it's up to you. I don't have a strong recommendation of that.
Well, it's considerable increase and go ahead and do the same thing. I don't know. It's hard for me to go ahead. There's $20,000 difference. So.
That's what it is here, right? It's 34 and 14.
Between the.
Yeah, but it's not because Power Solutions has the commons area included in their. For a sports complex, so we take 5 off of that. I guess if I can make it a little bit easier, if the difference isn't 20,000, it's just a little over 10,000, it's $11,694. So if you look at the chart that I provided you, there's a chart that says lowest bids, which is $15,416. And then there's the option that says based on what you did in 2025, which is you're awarding the athletic fields to Professional Outdoor Solutions, which is an athletic field company. And then you're awarding commons areas in general park grass to Spring Green. So those are the 2 options. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, so there's a $4,000 difference between lowest bidder.
No, there's 11,000, there's an $11,000 difference. So if you go right.
And that's probably what it was last year.
Yeah, between this and this, right? Between 15, 26.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
So, it's just, it is a specialty athletic field company that does athletic turfs, basically. And that was requested by the sports teams for many years, even before I got here. And then the village decided to do it for 2 years now.
But you got a pretty good audience. What do you guys think? Yay, nay, what?
It's the best I've seen it in a long time.
That's what we were looking for.
My kids are not there now, but just being in that area, seeing it driving by, I mean, yeah, the best I've seen certainly
Then
since I've been here.
let's do the based on 2025.
I'd say so. I mean, if there's
Splits in
sentiment,
between the 2 companies.
I mean, it's hard to overlook the difference, but if the feedback here makes everybody want to, but it's so big.
They need to work on the soccer games.
Yeah.
So these are humans. They need.
They don't,
They need water. It's not-
they don't water it, there's dandelions, there's weeds everywhere.
On the main soccer field though, that he has weed control on it,
Yeah,
What's the main?
the one closest to your house there,
The big
The big one.
the big one,
Yeah,
yeah.
big when they do. They're out there all the time spraying and watering that and you can tell when they don't because the doggone thing dries and you hate the kids eat, to be honest, you know they're gonna get hurt. But when they water it and they fertilize it, it is as green as the yard out there. And it really looks like they do a good job.
It is more challenging when you don't weed control everything though. You're putting more on that athletic surface to keep the weeds off of it, when 2 feet off the playing field, it's.
Well, there's Spring Green
Yes,
supposed to be doing the rest of that area then when they. Or whoever else, the other, I mean, that's the commons areas, right? Anything but the fields. So there should be weed control, whether or not it's happening.
Yeah. For this price. I don't know. That's 20 acres of, or 15 acres of. I don't know, see, that's the thing. Is there a motion on 2025? Dylan one?
I'll motion, it was 2025.
Or
Second.
and that is where we're splitting, right?
We're splitting between the two.
The congregations of the sports areas are being done by.
And then I'll check you guys on whether or not they're actually doing all that 15 or 20 acres or whatever it is in the north. I can't imagine what they are for this price.
No,
They're not. That's not, I don't think that's considered.
it's in the,
common
no,
area.
last year there was a. In the RFP itself, there's a map, that's not, it's more in between the fields, it's not
Okay,
that's another,
and like the grass around the basketball.
yeah, yeah. That's what they consider common.
Any further discussion on the?
Childers,
Yes.
Wolfersberger.
Yes.
Cummings, Rath,
Yes.
Walsh,
Yes.
Peters. Motion passed 6-0.
Right. Next item is the same thing for mowing services. 2026. That's right behind it in the packet.
This is the same thing, you were given low bids and then you were given a breakout based on the the contracts were awarded in 2025. Are you all seeing that?
Page 41.
Well, did you have any problems with any of the contractors that were mowing? Or nothing that was major?
Nothing that we could resolve.
Okay.
When I spoke to the soccer club folks here very recently, they were very pleased with whoever does Hackwood Park,
You're right.
which would be Ryan. So we kind of have the same situation if we do low bid versus based on 2025. The difference between those is so small.
I just said that.
Thought about making it 8 font, but I.
Yes. It's a lot to get my flag.
What's the number?
But so you have those options and you can do, either award it the way you did last year or do a low bid. The low bid, you'll have to make a decision on Colt Park because there is a tie.
What's your flavor? Want to do it the same as last year?
I would say if there's a tie, then yeah, it goes to the whoever was doing.
Well, that's on the
That's on the
low
low
bid,
bid
which is
side.
different. Okay, so, last year we only had 3 bidders, so this year we did get a better response. So it's good to see that we're getting more responses for it.
There's no why we didn't want the sports complex.
No, mowers, I don't think, I think you didn't buy at least 2.
Well, again, 2025 splits it between vendors. Any concerns with doing that again?
Nope.
Seemed to work last year.
Well, Matt, since you thought it was a good idea,
Oh, yeah, put it on me.
I can make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, on 2025.
Yes.
Awesome.
Any further discussion?
Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Walsh,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Childers. Motion passed 6-0.
All right. Here's what everybody's waiting for. Consideration of options to sell surplus property and consideration of issuing an RFP to evaluate proposals. Better take a drink before I get started. I'm gonna try and walk through this. I've got quite a bit to say, and please, I'm trying to be educational here. To walk you down the path that we have walked to try and get you to understand why this proposal came out. It's not what we want to do, but I think it's kind of what we have to do, or at least we have to consider. I completely understand everybody's perspective on those who have spoken tonight and others that you know that my phone's been blown up. I appreciate you sharing your concerns. They're all valid. And if it weren't for the essential for the long-term economic health of the entire village, I would agree with you entirely. However, there are other critical factors such as the village's vitality and economic health that need to be considered. Please understand that the plan you saw was just a feasibility concept plan. It wasn't the final plan, because what we're asking for tonight is to issue RFPs to see what a plan could look like. Like that plan had fence to fence on North Glover. I would never approve a plan that would do that. I would have a green space between the people on North Glover currently and any new subdivision to the east of there. There are things that I didn't like about that map, but it was just laid out as a concept because we're trying to do a jigsaw puzzle here. Until 2024, we hadn't issued a building permit in this town for 15 years. 2009, the last time a house was built. A total have 4 have been issued in 2024 and 2025. 4 houses. Since 2009, since the last time we were building houses here, inflation has risen by 51%. meaning the village can only buy 2/3 of concrete or whatever to replace streets and infrastructure and stormwater. We've not built stormwater build out the capital for years, and we've been fortunate in the last few years that there has been, I say fortunate, it's not really, that there's been a drought, but this town floods. And we have a lot of stormwater issues we need to deal with, and we can't do as much as we used to because we're not building any homes. And if you're not building homes or bringing in population, you start the beginning of this kind of a economic spiral. And today, this does not account for long-term deferred critical infrastructure upgrades that we should be making. Specifically, stormwater drainage. Property tax revenue has remained basically flat. Yes, house appraisals have gone up, so all of your property taxes gone up, mine has too. But with the increase in costs, we're not getting ahead anymore. I ran on the promise that we're going to increase property taxes, and I really like to stick with that. So you have another problem. Our population has declined 8.6% since 2014. And most of you don't know this, but the village only gets how much in property tax?
Over 6%.
Right at 6% of the total bill.
Yeah. So what's that number? $320,000. That's it from property tax. The majority of the budget comes from what's called the local, what's that called? LGDF, Local Government Distributive Fund from the state, which is our portion of income taxes, and motor fuel tax. Those are based on population. As our population goes like this, goes down, the amount of money coming in goes down. Our problem is we have 175 fewer kids in school than we did 8-9 years ago. I'm a perfect example. My wife and I moved to town. A lot of you can relate to this. We moved to town. We have 3 kids. All 3 of them have been through all three schools, and they're gone. And you're in that position, and I know several of you are in that position. And now, my wife and I are sitting on a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, and I'd love to go to another smaller home, but where? There's no place to build houses here. They're literally, somebody mentioned earlier that there's, other options. I would challenge any one of you to find one. Find property in the village of St. Joe for sale that could build houses. We could build houses on this. That there isn't a place. Believe me, we have talked to every owner of every property in and around St. Joe. You could build a house here or a house there. If we're talking about trying to get our population back to where it is and get the schools back to where they are. Because the schools, all the kids they lose money from the state. They get a lot of money from property taxes, but they also get per student money from the state. And as you have that, can you put that school population up? No.
Nope. Okay. Well, let's make it bigger.
That's the school, grade school, middle school enrollment. So we're getting less money from the state because we've got less people. And the schools are getting less money from the state because they got fewer students. And the reason this is because we're aging out. We have a very old average age in our town because the young kids are leaving. And even, I've got a son that's 28, 29. He would love to live here, but it's no place. Or folks come to St. Joe and buy houses outside of town in Wiltshire or other subdivisions. There are 10 property owners that control property in and around St. Joe. we cannot force them to develop it. We can't annex their land. It's their land, and I support their property rights to do whatever they want with their property. I can't build houses on it. In the last 10 months, 2 major development companies walked away from St. Joe because there was no availability to build anywhere. I can't in good faith criticize any of those property owners for not developing their land while we sit on over 30 acres of unused village property. We are not going to have the money to make that into a wonderful park. We don't have the staff, we don't have the money to develop all that on the north end or all that corn on the east side of the triangular piece. That piece was purchased at a low rate from the Woodards. I've spoken to 2 of the Woodards, Scott and Paul, recently, and they understand completely the situation we're in and have no objection to us developing the north part of that. There's a deed running around for the park itself, and the park was purchased with OSLAD grant money from the Department of Revenue. Department of Natural Resources. And when you buy parkland with the grant money from the state, it's supposed to be parkland in perpetuity. But like all state regulations, there's an asterisk. And the asterisk is, if you replace it with, you can develop it and reuse it for something else if you replace it with the exact same size of land adjacent to the original. So if you look at that map that came out, the piece above the north end, above the parking lot, above Grand Street, north of Grand Street, is the exact same size as the cornfield to the east. So instead of the park being north-south, it's the exact same size going east and west. So I'm gonna try and develop the whole east side of the park. New football field, new soccer field, I had 2 sons played soccer for years. And that field at the park is terrible, as somebody's already mentioned. We had sprained ankles, broken ankles. I wet dried back that so that we could have a game once because it was so underwater. They're looking forward to getting a new soccer field. We don't know what this is going to look like. The reason we're having this meeting tonight and it came up is because we want to get a request for proposals out to companies, development companies, to come up with a proposal. And we'll put conditions in, like a green space here, green space there, what types of houses we want to have. And see what's out there. I don't want to do this, but I also don't want to be here 10 years from now that, oh my God, why didn't they do something back then? Because now we can't fix our streets. The place looks like you know what, because we can't clean it up and we don't have the staff to do it because we don't have the income. And I don't want to raise property taxes. I mean, we could avoid this. We could raise property taxes so that the village could pay its debts. I mean, we're $19 million in debt on this sewer plant. That's why we're considering this sale and having Illinois American Water pay, well, they're paying us 4.9 for the collection system, and they're paying $15,300,000 on the loan, which is pretty close to $20 million, which will help us out tremendously financially. But I really don't want to do it, but we're kind of stuck. We talked about we will maintain the park's current size. My big hesitation is yours, is the traffic. That intersection, I'll get to questions in a second. Just give me a second. That intersection is terrible. I drive through it every day. It's awful. It needs turn lanes. It needs widened. It needs improved. That has to be part of this. If we do anything like this, that has to happen. I'm working with IDOT to create a southern entrance for emergency vehicles off of 1600N, back where Glover, the overpass on Glover Bridge. You could take that. There's a way back in that we'd like to pave so we could get to internal roadways. Because We've talked to the fire department, talked to the Josh Reese Fire Department about that, and I worry about that now. Heaven forbid something happened at the Fall Festival and 100 people are trying to go west and the police and fire are trying to come east. We have to have, even if we don't do this, we have to fix that. That's got to be on the table as far as I'm concerned. We'd like to put in a walking path around the whole thing. We'd like to improve the look and the park itself from what it is now. Definitely going to do a traffic study by our engineers on what we can do to minimize that traffic, but I know it's going to be a problem. I'm completely agreeing with you on that. Where's mine? Somebody mentioned the park was a gift. The park was purchased with Oslab money. The gift was really, it was a gift, but it was still purchased land. Was the 37 acres? 37.7 or something like that acres. That was from the Woodards, and that was his intent. It was not in writing, but it was his intent that it be part of the park. But it was also his intent that St. Joe grow, because he was the main builder here for years and years and years, and he wanted St. Joe to grow as well. So I heard traffic safety, traffic, to address your concerns about what's going to go in there, who's going to build. That's what we're doing this for, is to find out proposals. If it's not good, I don't want to do it. I don't want to build something that isn't appropriate for the area. But I'm just kind of a reality check, I guess, that we're in a situation where we have to entertain some sort of growth, or we're going to have bigger problems down the road. I'm sure that there's a lot of people out here that disagree with me, but if you had a question,
Yeah, and
I don't want to get into a big, huge.
no, I
back and
agree.
forth.
I agree with everything you're saying. I really do. And like I said in my statement, I'm not anti-development. With all due respect, I don't think you have an idea of how many people are going to be at that four-way and in front of my house. It'll be the Fall Festival every day.
It could be.
Okay, are there Champaign County regulations in regards to access to subdivisions?
So all those things will be, as you mentioned, we would have some sort of analysis completed by our engineers, and they would look at that.
Emergency things, I agree. I think that's great, but we're talking everyday access points.
And that's what we're talking about.
Because again, I encourage all of you to come sit in my driveway.
Right.
I mean, it is just on a sporting event, not with 90 more houses potentially, and the sporting events happen simultaneously, and the convention center or town community building with weekend traffic in and out. Liquor license, I'm assuming as well.
Just so I can clarify though, every type of level of infrastructure you're talking about, streets, sidewalks, stormwater,
Yeah.
those types of things, all have to meet specifications, and our engineers have to sign off on it. They'll have to do that.
But are there like rules, Champaign County rules in terms of access points into subdivision? And again, the safety thing is a great thing, but traffic flow, like,
That's my number one concern.
yeah.
I want to see a proposal and we'll make a decision. I want to see.
I will give everybody on the board, you come sit in my driveway, I will gladly sit out there and talk to you and watch an evening.
I've done it several times. It's horrible.
Impact study would be great to see how many cars come and go.
I just wanted everybody to know how we got to this point.
Yeah, and I agree with you on everything you've stated, like, I really do.
I'm looking for help. If somebody has an idea
Yeah.
of how we can turn this trend around, I'm all for it.
I think there's potentially another option that could happen quicker than we thought it would happen. I'm not gonna speak for the person, but I would love to table this for 2 weeks and not put these RFPs out and see how this other option plays out in 2 weeks, just to know. That's my personal opinion. I think it's a better option than building in the park. It's in the TIF district. The park is not in the TIF district. It's just a matter of will it happen or not. But
If there's another one, I'd dump this in a heartbeat.
Just make a motion to table to the next meeting.
I'm 100% on board with that.
In the meantime, you can get ideas. I mean, I had some thoughts about it too. And probably the big thing that you hit on, talking about IDOT, that access under Glover Bridge, I think that's, regardless of what happens here, I think that's something we should explore. So, alleviating traffic for anything.
We should also mess with traffic, at Sportsman's 50.
They did
That's a
traffic
dangerous
count.
intersection.
Very
So,
I
and with
remember
that
they
snow
did.
removal on Sportsman Club, I mean, like from East Grand, or from Grand South to 150. That is ridiculous in the winter, like, it's not maintained.
it's a sheet of ice.
Yeah, and then you're gonna add even more. But I mean, that's a concern. I have a teenage driver. I'm gonna have another one here soon. Like, we tell them to go west on a Grand. Because of that very intersection,
Getting
right?
on the 150.
Yeah.
And I have the same concerns
So we're
as you guys
sort of
do about
like-
like,
Yeah.
if something happens at your intersection at Grand and Sportsman's Club. Everybody who lives west of Sportsman's Club has other ways to still
Yeah.
get to
You
school
don't.
and church. And everyone who is currently on North and South Glover and potentially in this expanded area would not have access to even get out because that emergency access that you're working with IDOT is just that, it's emergency.
Yeah, it
access.
will be.
It's not
you
for your
can't-
residents.
That's huge
Right.
for me. That's,
Yes, Wendy.
Has to get.
I just have a question. The solar panels that are going up, like out, was there some by the sewer and then north of 74?
There are some north of 74 off of Sportsman's Club Road.
Do we get a kickback from those at all?
Nope.
They have nothing to do
They
with
gave
us.
us $110,000.
Oh, yes, those, you're
They,
right, those we
we
did.
couldn't stop them.
Okay,
So to use that, either we could have fought for another couple of years and paid a lot of money and lost. But they gave us 110 that went to the new lights at the park, right?
And the state changed the rules. There used to be a rule called the extra jurisdictional authority that with a mile and a half of village limits. If we had a master plan for growth, and somebody came in and said, I want to put in, 200 acres of solar field, we could object to that and stop that because it's limit growth. The state legislature and the governor signed the bill last year removing that authority from every city in Illinois. So anybody outside of any city can put up a solar field as much as we want. And we have another big one coming right up next to the city limits. I don't want to announce just who that is or where it is yet, but there's another multi-big acre subdivision. This summer, they signed the same bill, modifying it even more restrictive for us. So we can't stop solar fields from some of these property owners that own property around us can say, I'd rather not develop it. I'd rather put solar fields in.
This is the exact same that's going on in Catlin. So if you've read about it, that's what they're fighting for.
and where?
We're in Catlin.
Oh,
It's all over
yeah.
on solar fields, but yes,
Well,
there's,
and is it, and whether this is true or not, I don't know. But is it going to China or is it even in the United States?
what, the power?
Like, yeah, like all of the
Each one of them signs a contract with whoever they want.
different. Okay.
They could go to Facebook and get them.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for not knowing, you quickly mentioned something about the sewage plant being $19 million.
The total project, including the streets that needed to be rebuilt, yeah.
Okay. I guess I don't know the details behind that, but who's responsible or where's the accountability for that?
Well, that decision was made because the previous board made that decision, I don't know how many years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Because the sewer plant that we had, you couldn't add any more homes to it or anything. It was limiting our growth. And it was inadequate and falling apart and needed to be replaced. It just,
potential EPA fine.
and potential EPA fines based on its inability to meet modern standards. And so it had to be completely rebuilt to a new.
So what's happened from that point then, or when that happens to now, what's happened? What's been made or what's been done to try to
Well,
eliminate that?
I don't know, I'd really like to not get off on the solar or the sewer plant.
That's a big
Too
part of
much.
our debt, and that's why we're in this situation, isn't it?
Right, but you know, we pay for that with sewer rates. And
I understand that, but what I'm
And that-
saying, you said $19 million of debt,
Right.
now you wanna put 90 houses to compensate for that mistake,
no,
no?
no, the sewer plant has nothing, in my opinion, the sewer plant has nothing to do or very little to do.
I mean, in my business, debt is debt.
Right. Now, remember, if we did this, if we did this development, they would buy the land from, we would be selling it, wouldn't own it. And it's appraised at 892,000. So we would get a certain amount of money depending on the negotiations that would be then used to completely develop the south end of the park.
I guess I mentioned earlier when I went up there, this is the transparency I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, sewer plant's been discussed
The difference
over years ad nauseum, you know, there's a lot out there on the sewer plant.
I mean, there was, every time we turned around, the EPA was changing the standards so different, and now you got the oxidation trenches and all that. But the big thing was the construction cost, how much it went up from the original plan at $6 or $7 million or 10 million, whatever it was, and that's what the rates were figured on, that amount. And yet the bids that came in, that we took the lowest one at 19 million or something like that, the next one 32 million. Go ahead and replicate what before.
That's the cost of putting things off. Right? I mean, that's the inflation in 2020 to 2024.
But is it fair to say there's an individual on the board that's still empowered from that time?
I don't think, I'm not gonna get into judging previous boards. I don't think that
That's
would
not
be
what
fair.
I'm trying to say.
Then I don't understand.
The board as a whole is trying to do what's right for the village, what's best for the village.
And I didn't duplicate Jeremy's words. I'm all for business. And this community seems like we're often in a hole where we don't know how to find business.
Well, I can tell you that I have personally, and we have staff who personally talked to dozens and dozens of businesses who don't want to come to a town whose population is doing that. And that's what we're doing.
And again, pro-development. But it's affecting me, so selfishly, I have questions.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand, and I will, offline, I would be willing to sit down and talk to anybody at any time. And get your opinions and try and maybe we figure this out, but we're at a tipping point and I don't want the future to be bad. So that's why we're entertaining it.
Open for business options, open for growth and development options, please reach out to us if you have ideas.
Absolutely.
Know people, or anything like that. It's, something has to move in a positive direction, so it doesn't all become our burden with bills and taxes and sewer rates.
And maybe this opportunity I have. I would like to extend what I feel I can offer at this point. Because I feel there's many things, simple things this town is missing. And impression is probably the biggest one that comes to mind. That's why the business stays away. And I'd be all about it to have those conversations.
Anytime.
I'll give you my business card.
Okay, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just a real quick question.
Mhm.
Hypothetically, you guys, if you approve this RFP thing to go out, what kind of timeline are you looking at to like get stuff back? And if you approve that, how fast would this thing happen?
Well, you're talking 60 or 90 days.
For the RFP.
for the RFP, so you're talking about May, June, and then they'd have to go through
Zoning process.
zoning process.
Every bit of 5 to 6 months, and then a lot of developers have a build out schedule somewhere between 8 and 12 houses a year. And one of the points to emphasize is that if you build out 8 to 12 houses a year, that's a pretty slow rate. It's gonna take a while to really reverse what's already been lost, so it's already starting to hold, basically.
Will it be done in phases?
I would assume, but that's up to the developer, and they would propose that. They would propose a general area plan, and then they would have their phases they would go through.
That's usually what happens, you know, there's phases. And then as each phase is done and they put in another phase, the homeowners association starts, and, you know, that takes a few years, so no dirt is gonna be turned by a shovel
And the RFP doesn't commit you to anything. You can issue it, get proposals back, not like them, no harm done. All you're doing is you're opening up a dialogue and that's all you're doing with this.
We're just gathering information. Is what it amounts to.
Don't hang your hat on that plan.
No, I just wanted to ballpark it.
Yeah, it's easy a year out. If everything was hunky dory, doesn't work perfect. Okay, last one.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Everybody's being civil.
Pro development here question, and business is definitely home building is not what it was 15 years ago, especially in Champaign, Urbana and surrounding areas. There's definitely not home builders available like there once was. But at the same time, I would encourage St. Joe to find anyone locally. I guess the biggest thing that I would be scared of is that we would have a developer come in and we'd have companies come from Chicago, St. Louis, Peoria, and that's probably, in my mind, a step in the wrong direction.
Great. You want a local builder? Who?
Exactly, but they're out there.
That's why I'd like.
I know, they're out there.
Who? I guess.
I'll get you a list tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. As a developer is what I guess I'm asking. I'd love to see that. Somebody that could.
I mean, you're gonna deal with Amish builders and stick framing. They're still out there.
I'm not talking somebody that can just build a house.
Yeah,
He's asking for a developer that will take land over.
Correct.
and get-
Somebody that has an engineering firm on contract, an architect, so.
I'd love to hear it. If you have it, I'd really appreciate the information.
I can definitely follow up with you.
Okay.
All right,
I would love to motion to table this for 2 weeks. To let it out. Yeah,
I'll second that.
I think we've discussed it enough. Go ahead.
Okay. Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Walsh,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Childers,
Yes.
Wolfersberger.
yes.
Motion to table pass 6-0.
I am waiting for some more information on animal control. I'm sorry, I don't have anything. Do we have a motion to, oh, wait, do you have anything? Does any board member, any trustee have anything you want to bring up?
Yeah, I've got stuff.
Or soothing.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Art really does have something.
Oh, that's not kidding?
No. Look at, they're all leaving on yard.
Well, that's fine. This, and in regard to DD six, the drainage district. I'm wondering what we really benefit from. We've had projects, we've had to split with them. Are they doing the like preventive stuff with the oxbow and all this other, they're kind of an unknown entity. When you look at the county, you can't even find them. They don't have meetings. They don't, I mean, you know. The drainage district number 6, DD 6, it goes right through St. Joe. In fact, their list of accomplishments, when you look at it, are Elm Street and everything that the village paid for. And so it's one of those entities, I'm wondering if we should explore, could we absorb that? At least find out, okay, what do they have budget what do they get for tax revenue? You know, it's just kind of like, it's an unknown, check it out, and well, I spent some hours on it, it's just like, you can't even get a map of what their district is, but I mean, it tells about how much the Elm Street project, the size of tile, we did that, but that's one of their accomplishments. Talks about modest revenues and everything here, and I find out who's on it and all that, and one of them, they got an open seat, well, has anybody been appointed to it, is anybody interested in being on it, because I mean, we're the main subsidiary of it, so it's, I don't know, I think it's something we need to delegate Mr. Mark to go ahead, and I think you said that we could, talk to them about just basically turning things over, but this might be revenue to offset some of the drainage projects, or are they doing that? Because if it comes down to, we got a problem and it's in there, and we just split it with them, or we're doing their work for them, what about those funds? I mean, should some of that come back to tax to the citizens of St. Joe? I'd like to see if we could take it over, to tell you the truth.
Well, there's 120 of them in Champaign County.
Yeah, we're looking, trying to find it, with our to DD6 was right through St. Joe, two different areas, if I remember right. We had the sinkhole in Third, but there's others. I mean, essentially that Elm Street project was to sit there and go out to the Salt Fork to bypass DD6 and give capacity to get all the stormwater out. So, I mean, we essentially paid for what they should have been doing. And that's one of my concerns. We could ask them, we could ask Clark Beach, go ahead. I mean, they got nothing, you can't find record expenses or costs. You can't find expenditure, you can't find meetings, you know, it's just,
What information are you wanting from Clark Beats? Where are
I'm
you?
just saying, like, he's wanting to know like who to talk to.
well, I find the people on it, but
Oh, no, you can, we know the
you
information.
know that part.
Yeah.
I'm just wanting to know, what do they do? You know, it says they gotta have a meeting twice a year in spring and fall, and as needed. There's no record of meetings, there's really, it's just, and you try to find out, okay, DD6 has X amount of dollars. And just like I said, the Elm Street project, we funded that when in reality, they should have picked up part of it. You know, I mean, if you read in there, you would think that they're the ones that spent on the Elm Street, $216,000. Of course, that wasn't all of Elm Street by any means, but it lists about the convergence of the Douglas Street where DD6 and the village intersect. And remember, we added that so that if we ever did expand east on Douglas, that was already there. But we've essentially absorbed a lot of the costs that I kind of think DD6 should have been putting into. If nothing else, their people should be coming when they do something like that to attend the zoning and planning and just say, they need to be part of the dialogue. Okay, what are you guys going to put in for this?
Didn't you say that BJ used to be on that?
BJ was on it, but he's gone now.
No, I know that.
There's probably a vacancy there.
But we can find out who's on it.
We know
We know who's on it.
That's not the question. The question he's bringing up, he thinks that the drain, what I'm understanding from trustee Rapp is that he feels as though the village could more effectively improve the drainage district if we were to have some type of agreement with drainage district to do so, is what he's saying.
Right.
We know who's on it, we can figure out when they meet, things, but that's not the question. The question is if you all have any interest in
Engaging them directly and.
yeah, and seeing if we can take responsibilities and take some of the compensation they get to do those responsibilities.
As it is.
Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Right now, I don't know, there could be $2, there could be $1 million in there. Nobody knows. What's their operating cost? Do they pay salaries? It's just, it's an unknown entity.
No, we do some, I think there is a maintenance agreement, like we share stuff like that. He's talking about more so. Doing the duties of a drainage district, basically. That's what he's talking about.
Well, if the oxbow is the ditch that goes past the sewer plant, essentially, we paid for that. That should have been part of their responsibility too. I'd like to understand DD6 more. I think they got a little skin in the game, you know, that might help the taxpayers a little bit down the road. But I don't know what kind of funds they operate with. It tells about percentage of revenue they get, but it doesn't say what they've got. It doesn't say if they got a meeting. It doesn't. I mean, I just like to know more about it if it's possible. It might be some sense there's a vacancy, get somebody from the board appointed to it. You know, where we have, okay, when you have a meeting and you have that, you need somebody to represent the city. Because the preponderance, what I see, what I remember, the preponderance of DD6 is it within the city limits of taken care of. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I got some other things, but nothing else for now.
You're done?
Yes, mission accomplished.
Motion to adjourn?
Please.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
I thought that was.
Thank you.